Charlotte or Asheville, which Carolina city is best for you? Because everyone's moving to North Carolina looking for great things to do and great nature too, but depending on what is most important to you, one of these you're gonna love and the other one you just might want to leave. So I'm gonna break down everything you need to know side by side, including the cost of living, the jobs, the schools and education, and the lifestyle, so you can see which is better for you. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, this isn't one of those super biased BS realtor videos that gives you a one-sided presentation to try to get you to move somewhere specifically so they can sell you a house. I'm gonna give you the good and the bad of both, and I'll share my personal opinion on how I scored this when I was deciding where to live, but you can keep track of the score for yourself and decide which fits you better. Move wherever you want. Warm winters or snowy mornings? Let's feel the seasons. Charlotte has mild winters, warmer nights, and less icy conditions. Summers are hot and humid, warmer and more humid than the mountains, and sometimes it can be as much as 10 to 15 degrees warmer than Asheville in both the winter and the summer, which, that's a pro during the winter and a con during the summer. You can wear shorts in February, but also sweat just walking to your car in July. Rarely any snow means that there's no shoveling, no icy driveways, and it feels more like two seasons, hot and not so hot. But if you're chasing that fresh, dry mountain air, you actually get 4 seasons here in Asheville, and you can feel each one. Cooler and drier overall, and sometimes we have completely different weather than Charlotte. In fact, my girlfriend lived in Asheville for medical school, and she's going to be a doctor, a physician soon, and I've been traveling back and forth to spend time with her from Charlotte, and there can be a pretty stark difference in terms of Charlotte versus Asheville weather, where Charlotte can feel like a sauna, and the mountains can be so much more cool and temperate during the summer, despite being so close to each other. There can be a real tangible difference. Now, fall is cozy and colorful with real leaf-changing vibes and fiery orange and yellow and reds covering the mountains. Winters bring snow and ice, and again, Eden, my girlfriend, FaceTimed me last fall in a panic because her road had a hill that iced over, and she wasn't sure how to drive up the hill to get to work. But that summer mountain breeze hits different in the summer, and it's not just the weather, it's the atmosphere. So if you prefer consistent warmth and fewer weather surprises, Charlotte's your win. But if you want a real 4-season experience with crisp fall and snowy mornings, Asheville's gonna give you some great optionality. Now for me, I love the warmth, so Charlotte won for me in this round. Milder winters and fewer icy issues. And that brings us to our next big question. What is it really like to live here? Let's talk about the outdoors and nature access. Here's how each city delivers when you step outside your front door. In Asheville, surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains with access to real hiking trails, Mount Mitchell is just 40 minutes outside of Asheville, and it's the tallest peak east of the Mississippi. There's weekend adventures available to you here with waterfalls, ski spots, and mountain views all within driving distance. It's not the city, but it's all right there when you want it. So if you love hiking and you want to climb real mountains, this is the place for you. But if you want nature integrated into your daily life, Charlotte offers city integrated nature. We've got greenways everywhere, and Lake Norman is massive. It's the biggest lake in North Carolina. The Whitewater Center offers mountain biking, hiking, rock climbing, rafting, and more. They have a 70+ acre dog park, and I go there almost every day with my puppy Penny, sometimes between meetings, sometimes before meetings. It's a great way to break up the day because you could go to lunch, hit the trails, and be back to work in no time. And it's such an attraction that many of my clients have decided where they could live, specifically around having easy access to the Whitewater Center. And while Charlotte may not have the mountains, it does have lake life dialed in. Asheville has lakes like Lake Junaluska and Lake Julian, but they're nothing compared to Lake Norman and Lake Wylie. And if you want that blend of suburbia and adventure, this place is built for it. But if you want to live surrounded by wilderness, mountains, and adventure weekends, Asheville's going to take this one easily. But if you prefer quick access to greenways, lake life, and city integrated nature, Charlotte's going to win. So for me, Asheville has to win this round because it's just unmatched access to the wild. Even though I love the convenience that Charlotte offers, and personally I like it more, I'm giving it to Asheville. But nature is just the backdrop. What about finding your home? That brings us to housing. Flat yard or mountain view? Let's talk about what buying a home really looks like. More supply, more choices in Charlotte. There's 6 times as much inventory as Asheville, and we haven't talked about how many more areas there are to choose from too. In an average summer, you'll see at any given time 2,100 plus options for suburban homes versus 222 in Asheville. If you want to be picky here, you actually can be and still afford it. There's flatter lots, there's more options for new construction. If you want a flat yard, Charlotte's got it. And while newer homes are the default here, you also can hunt for an old bungalow and find it here too. Your dollar stretches further, especially if you want space, finishes, or build quality. But if you're chasing a mountain vibe and can live with some trade-offs, Asheville is going to give you some options you can't find anywhere else. If you're looking for flat, you're not going to find it here. This isn't Texas. This state is not flat, and Asheville in particular is 3D. Side slope, back slope, upside down loop-to-loop slope. There's slope everywhere. If you want a flat yard, forget about it unless you're way out of town, because you've got the mountains. You've got real mountains. You've got mountain views. You're in the mountains. Being picky here costs you way more because there are still some flat-ish lots and larger flat-ish lots, but you got to look for it. And in many cases, being picky is unrealistic at any price point, especially if you're looking for something that's flat. Most homes are older, and if you want something new, you have to really go looking. The same budget here gets you less than Charlotte just because you're in the mountains, because construction is more expensive with more engineering, more materials, and more building that goes into being able to build on slopes and slants. So you're literally paying a premium to be in the middle of nowhere, which Asheville is cool. My girlfriend loves it, but personally is not my cup of tea as much as Charlotte. And so if you want to be in the middle of nowhere, go to Asheville. If you want more homes, newer finishes, flatter land, and better value though, Charlotte's going to dominate. But if you do want that mountain setting, even if it means a little bit of sacrifice in your day-to-day amenities, Asheville delivers that vibe. But for buyers that want the very best, you can't go wrong either way. It's just a matter of taste. Both Charlotte and Asheville have a selection of excellent, mature, established neighborhoods to choose from. But for me, Charlotte does win this round by a wide margin on supply and affordability. It's also important to understand too that housing can and should be a deal breaker, but beyond just talking about housing options, what if you choose the wrong city or home? That's a 6-figure or 7-figure mistake that you'll live with for years. And I want you to make the best decision for you, whichever city that is, Charlotte, Asheville, or even somewhere else. I don't care where you move as long as it's the right decision for you. So, to help you find the right videos and cities faster for your research, I made a Southern Cities comparison quiz to find the right regions that actually fit your life. You can scan the code or tap the link below, take the quiz, and instantly see which Southern cities might be the best choice for your next home. All right, next up is art and culture. Here's how the cultural energy hits in these two cities. In Asheville, it's a hippie town. Always has been. My dad lived here 50 years ago, and it's still the same vibe. It's very bohemian, very artsy, and if you look it up, it literally means socially unconventional. It's got a huge art community, people involved in music, visual arts, crafts, all of it. And the River Arts District gives you music scenes, indie businesses. It feels alive. It draws the kind of people who want to create and express, not just work and earn. Now, meanwhile in Charlotte, it's a different flavor entirely. Charlotte is what I call very right brain, meaning you're going to find engineers and bankers and analysts and not so many brand designers. Now, for me personally, I love it. I went to Purdue, I studied robotics engineering. I worked in corporate as an engineer until they sent me to Charlotte, and I changed careers and went full-time as a real estate broker. And I'm a nerd to my core. There's so many technical people here, and I love that. I love it. And this city is a city of career-focused people that are driven and logical and precise. And my clients here have largely been, whether they're from here or moving here, PhDs, execs, data scientists, engineers, IT professionals, CPAs, 7 and 8-figure entrepreneurs. And it's just a very unique crowd of, again, very, very driven people, and I love it. Now, people say there's no culture here, but they are wrong. There is culture here, but it's just not as expressive as the arts. You know, it's ambition, it's energy, and it's logic, which I'm not saying is superior to creativity, even though all those years in engineering school definitely make me really want to say that. I don't believe that. But if Charlotte is your Monday through Friday drive, Asheville is going to be more like weekend energy. So if you want a community of creators, artists, and laid-back energy, Asheville will win this round by a mile. But if you want a vibe of productivity, structure, and hustle, that's Charlotte. And finance bros. There are a lot of finance bros here. Personally, I love Charlotte, but for most people who do want that culture, Asheville's going to win this round because it's all hard and handmade. All right, enough about the vibe. Let's talk about the money, because which city is going to pay you more? Both these cities have strong job markets, and in Charlotte, there's so many jobs. They literally can't hire people fast enough. Banking, finance, tech, healthcare, people are relocating here by the thousands just for work. In fact, 117 people per day move to the Charlotte region, and they still can't fill all the roles. Low unemployment, steady growth, and tons of corporate relocation. We're not just busy, we're booming. I've helped nurses, CNAs, and engineers land jobs here, and I know many of the hiring managers at this point, because it's not just quantity. The pay is better here too, especially for professional roles compared to many other parts of the US. But in Asheville, it's a different scene. Asheville's mostly tourism, some government jobs, and a little manufacturing, and it feels kind of like a hub outside of Charlotte. It's 2 hours away. You can find work here. It's just not necessarily exactly the kind of work you might have in mind when you start looking for a job. Now, if you're in tech, finance, or anything really, again, right brain, you're probably commuting pretty far or remote. And jobs exist, but growth and pay, generally not on par with Charlotte, but there's opportunities everywhere for the right people. Now, if you want career growth, industry, diversity, and higher pay, Charlotte's going to take this one by a mile. But Asheville does have jobs. It's just not necessarily in the same league or quantity for most professionals as in Charlotte. Now, for me, I love the fast pace. I love the big industries coming here to the QC. So Charlotte wins this round for me, with opportunity thriving here. But once you pay the bills, what's actually on the plate? Let's talk about where these cities pour their flavor. Asheville's beer scene is insane. There are small batch breweries on every corner. You go hiking during the day, then grab a pint downtown. That's the rhythm here. The vibe is casual, indie, and experimental, from kombucha bars to hidden taco windows. It's the kind of place where your bartender is probably also your yoga instructor. Restaurants here are run by people who live here. There's no big chain takeover. And you'll find vegan diners, handmade pastries, and Southern comfort food reimagined. It's food that leads with personality and not necessarily pretentiousness. Charlotte, however, has a very different appetite. Charlotte's dining scene is more big city polished, so think rooftop bars, food halls, and modern fusions. You've got options: sushi, steak, Indian, Italian, all in one neighborhood. And if you want cocktails with a skyline view, we've got you covered. It's constantly evolving. New restaurants and breweries open monthly, and Charlotte's not trying to be quirky. It's just trying to be good and efficient and give you options. And I will say, in that respect, Asheville has far fewer options, but they're probably, sometimes they're better options. I will give it that. So if you love that laid-back, artisan, local first flavor, Asheville's your winner. But if you prefer refined dining, international options, and modern cocktail culture, Charlotte's got an edge here. And also, Eden and I love Indian food, so I'll give you an example. For Indian food, Charlotte has some great options and tons of them, but Asheville has better options, even though it's fewer. Especially check out Lila and Chai Pani. Oh my goodness, they're so good. So Personally, again, I feel like Asheville wins this round. Quirky, bold, proudly indie. And now that we've eaten, we've sipped, how does the whole place actually feel? So let's talk about lifestyle and vibe. This one's about the energy, not just the features. Asheville has that certain energy, and people across the country know it. There's this young, pulsing feel, especially if you're into outdoors, art, or just fun, funky, weird stuff. So many people haven't even been to Charlotte, but they've been to Asheville. It's fun. There's always something quirky going on. And a lot of people, especially younger people, move here for that vibe. It's not touristy in a bad way. It's touristy in a fun, let's go explore way. But if you want something steadier, more rooted, Charlotte doesn't have that artsy chaos. It's more professional and polished. It's the place you raise a family, build a career, and grow some roots. It's got a strong identity, we're just not loud about it. It's more Monday to Friday real life, not Saturday, Sunday vibes only. If Asheville's where you vacation, Charlotte is where you live. If you want that wild, exciting, energetic pulse, Asheville's gonna sweep you off your feet. But if you want a place that feels stable, familiar, and long-term livable, Charlotte is a great place to drop roots. So personally, I love Charlotte, but I'm giving this round to Asheville because it has that magic that's hard to define, but easy to feel, and so many people do really love it. Next up, how easy is it to stay connected or get away? Charlotte Douglas is one of the busiest airports in the country. You've got direct flights all over the place, domestic and international, and even if you're flying last minute, you're gonna have options. It's a major American Airlines hub, so you can hop almost anywhere. And for people who travel for work, like I used to, 100% travel when I was an engineer, Charlotte is ridiculously convenient. Like I would only budget maybe 15 minutes to go from the gate to actually board it on my plane, at least if you have TSA pre-check. And even if you're just visiting friends or family out of state, it's easy. But if you live in Asheville, your travel plans might start with a drive. They've got a few airlines at the local airport, but it's tiny. You might get lucky with a nonstop somewhere like Atlanta or Florida, but anything big, you're driving to Charlotte or Greenville and usually to Charlotte for the Charlotte Douglas Airport. People don't think about it, but airport access is a lifestyle thing, and Asheville really can't compete in this respect. So if you fly often or just like options, Charlotte's gonna win this by a runway length mile. Asheville's cozy, but it is limited. Charlotte's gonna win this round because it's connected, accessible, and travel friendly, but what if you're not flying anywhere? Let's talk about life when you get some space to grow. Let's talk about where life just feels easier. You've got better schools, more school options, and the ability to choose neighborhoods based on that in Charlotte. There are neighborhoods with amazing school ratings and community support. It's very family forward with parks, greenways, cul-de-sacs. You don't have to hunt for safe and family-friendly areas. People come here to put down roots, and there's plenty of room to grow with bigger homes, private yards, and even gated communities. You can find your pocket and stay here for 10 to 15 years easily. But if you're drawn to that small town energy, there are family-friendly pockets around Asheville, sure. It's just not necessarily built around that. The schools aren't bad, but they're not what draw people in. If you're a remote worker with kids or flexible with what kind of homes and areas you want to live in, Asheville definitely could work, but the infrastructure is just not optimized for that lifestyle. It feels more like a place for a stage of life and not necessarily for the entire journey. And a lot of people do move away when it's time to have a second kid or look for more stability. So if you want structure, space, and top school choices, Charlotte's built for family life. Asheville's got charm, but not the same scale or support system. So Charlotte's gonna win this round with its stable, spacious, and family-friendly housing options. All right, now zooming out just a little bit, what if you're single and hoping to mingle, meet some people here? If you're new in town or looking for a romantic partner, let me tell you where it's easier to find your people. The dating pool in Charlotte is just larger. There are more people, more professionals, more events. It's easier to connect, especially if you're career driven or new to the area and go to events and actually meet people. You've got rooftop bars, networking events, co-working spaces, all places where people meet. There are different lanes, nightlife, fitness classes, interest groups, church communities. Whether you're 25 or 45, Charlotte has people in your stage of life. But Asheville, on the other hand, is a little bit different rhythm. It's smaller, it's more niche. There is a scene, it's just not as big. It's more artsy, outdoorsy, hippie, crunchy. If that's your lane, you'll love it. But if you don't fit that mold, it can feel limiting. A lot of the people in Asheville are here for a season or a reason, but after a few years, they're gone. So it's harder to build deeper connections or long-term social networks. And if you want a diverse dating pool and more places to connect with new people, Charlotte's going to win easily. Asheville can work, but it's more niche and short term. And I'll give this one to Charlotte. More people, more options, more ways to connect. And hey, it is how I met my girlfriend. So, I have to choose it, right? Okay, meeting people is great, but how are you going to go see them and do things? How are you going to get from point A to point B every day? Let's break down how easy or hard it is to move around Charlotte versus Asheville. Charlotte has public transit. It's just not great yet. They're building more light rail, but right now the city is really car heavy, and even though it's big, it's trying. There's a plan, a vision. The suburbs are actually pretty easy to drive around, grid system, good signage. There are greenways and walking paths in a lot of neighborhoods, but in Asheville, it's a smaller footprint, but that doesn't always have to mean it's easier. There's no light rail, barely any bus system. You do need a car, just period. And the roads are narrow, hilly, and older because it was built a long time ago, and so it's not really built for modern traffic because, it's hard. It's in the mountains. Some neighborhoods are walkable, but the rest, not so much. Between the tourists, hills, and weird layouts, it can be a pain to get around depending on what you're looking for life-wise, which is why I tell everybody, neither city's going to be perfect. If you have to pick one, Charlotte is building towards a better future in the public transit respect, and Asheville's small. It's just, if you're looking for public transit, both of these are bad options. Look at like Pittsburgh or something. I have to give this one to Charlotte though, because for this round, while it's not perfect, it's growing, it's improving, and we do have a light rail and we do have some, trolleys and stuff. There are options out there. But what if you're thinking long term? What about the growth and opportunity? Let's see which city is scaling faster. Charlotte's growth is insane. Again, 117 people per day are moving here every day. Banking, tech, healthcare, and they're building like crazy to keep up. It's not just recently, it's not since COVID. This has been going on for 15, 20 years. The new highways, new developments, new infrastructure, it is nonstop. The job growth isn't all in one industry, it's spread out across the board, and the city is planning for 2040. It's not reacting, it's leading. Whether you're a nurse, an engineer, a teacher, there's a lane for you here. Startups, Fortune 500, small businesses, they're all hiring. But in Asheville, while it's a little bit slower, there still is niche growth. Asheville's growth is real, just not as explosive. It's mostly tourism, hospitality, and remote workers that want a slower pace of life and better lifestyle. The industries in Asheville just aren't as diverse, and the opportunities are more limited. If you're not already working remote, you might outgrow the job market. You can find a really cool lifestyle. It's just not always going to make sense for the next step in your career ladder. Now, if you want long-term growth, expanding industries, and a big vision, Charlotte's way ahead. Asheville is charming, but it's not scaling so fast. I'm going to give this one to Charlotte because the future-focused and full speed ahead attitude is going to pull out in front. But maybe you care less about job stats and more about personality, so let's see what each city feels like. Let's break down the personality vibes. Asheville is bohemian, it's artsy, it leans liberal. There's a real community feel, but it's very expressive and inclusive. It's full of people who don't want to live by the book and color inside the lines. It's not in a rush, and you feel that as soon as you get here. It's a place where people move to when they want to slow down and reset. Now, Charlotte, on the other hand, it feels like a Monday morning. It's polished, clean, organized. Great if you're driven and career-focused, one of the reasons why I love it. It's not a bad thing, it's just different. It's about performance, not poetry. You can build a life here, it's stable, and it makes sense. Now, if you're looking for artistic, expressive energy and a slower pace, Asheville is the vibe. But if you prefer structure, routine, and career-driven hustle, Charlotte's going to fit the mold. So Asheville wins this round because the bohemian heart and everything a lot of people are looking for these days. Personally, I love Charlotte, but in terms of the lifestyle, Asheville's lifestyle is pretty fun, I gotta say. Now, next, let's get serious for a sec. If education options matter to you and your future, here's what you have to know. Whether you got kids or you're planning for the future or you're just curious about how people in the area think and value education, this round is all about that. So Charlotte has a ton of public and private school options. It's big enough that you can find programs for gifted kids, charter schools, STEM magnets, all of it. And people move here for the schools all the time. Universities and institutions like UNCC, Queen's University, Johnson & Wales, lots of higher ed options are in the city here. And Charlotte's university scene is bigger and just way better funded. And in Asheville, there are options like UNC Asheville, and it's good, it's great, but it's been struggling a lot. There have been talks about it going bankrupt any year now for several years because there's just not the same demand for liberal arts degrees that there used to be. You've only got a few options for education and higher education in Asheville, and none of those are powerhouse schools. If college is important, you're probably going to be going to school somewhere else. And the public schools are fine. They're not terrible. They're just also not incredible. It's just not a reason a lot of people choose Asheville over anywhere else. So if you want strong school districts, lots of options, and serious higher ed, Charlotte's going to clearly lead. Asheville has charm, but it's not an academic powerhouse. So Charlotte wins this round, more schools, stronger systems. But outside of learning, what about more fun things? What about stadiums, concerts, and how each city shows up for fun? In Charlotte, we've got major leagues, major venues. We've got the Panthers, Hornets, Charlotte FC, big stadiums, tons of people. It's loud, it's fun, and it's full throttle. The city really turns up for games and concerts, and it's a legit scene. And so many people move here for that over Asheville or even Raleigh, because it's not just games. We're talking about huge concerts, festivals, conventions. There's a lot going on in Charlotte. And I've even had clients pick Charlotte just for the free events and free festivals calendar because there's so much going on here. But in Asheville, you do have the Asheville Tourists, which is a minor league baseball team. It's cute, it's fun, but it's nothing like Charlotte's pro teams. Although, to be fair, we have a minor league baseball team. Baseball's the only thing Charlotte doesn't have. We're the Charlotte Knights, but that's it. And we get some concerts in Asheville, but not the big names. You usually go to Charlotte or Raleigh. If you're into pro teams, high energy crowds, or big name events, Charlotte's going to dominate. Asheville's cozy vibe shines in other areas. This just isn't one of them. So Charlotte is going to win this one easily with big teams, big energy, and big draws. Now, let's slow it down with wellness, balance, and lifestyle quality. Who does daily life better? Let's talk about which city is going to support your daily rhythm and well-being more. In Asheville, the city is built for lifestyle. Slower pace, wellness focus, lots of people doing yoga and eating clean, and it draws folks who care about how they live, not just where they live. Even the tourists come to unplug with spas and hikes and silence and mountain air instead of just stimulating yourselves. And you feel it when you're here. The whole city just breathes differently. It's a great place to reset or find a rhythm that isn't hustle focused. But if you are hustle focused, Charlotte's energy is way more Monday to Friday, professional, ambitious, and career-oriented. Wellness does exist here too. It's not the core identity. It's not like, let's go and meditate. It's more like, hey, let's do a cold plunge and then get back at it. So if Asheville's self-care, Charlotte's more self-discipline. If you're looking for restorative energy, slow mornings, and a focus on wellness, Asheville's going to take this one easily. And Charlotte can offer some balance, but it's not the lifestyle brand that Asheville is. I'm going to give this one as a tie because it really depends on what you like and what you want. Asheville and Charlotte both give you very different flavors of peace, pace, and personal wellness. For me, I love Charlotte, but for you, you tell me. Drop it down in the comments below. But let's talk money one more time, because not income or rent, we're going to dive into taxes. It's not what you earn, it's what you keep. In Asheville, Buncombe County taxes are slightly higher, and Asheville homeowners, you're going to notice the hit. The property tax rate in Asheville is 1.09%, which adds up fast with Mountain View premiums. Now, Asheville also collects significant revenue through tourism taxes, which can drive up local pricing indirectly. Charlotte's Mecklenburg County property tax rate, on the other hand, is 0.77%. It's lower and it offers more affordable home options, so it's a double save. And even just that 0.4% difference means you're saving $2,000 a year on a $500,000 property, which isn't life-changing, but it's a difference that you can feel, especially if you're in a nice suburban neighborhood. And some Charlotte area towns like Matthews and Huntersville may also add small local taxes, but the base remains competitive across the board. So property taxes are going to give you a slight edge towards Charlotte over Asheville, especially when you combine that with home prices. But I'm going to say, honestly, neither city has a huge tax advantage. It really depends on the exact type of home and area you're looking at. And both are in North Carolina, obviously, right? Which has an overall flat income tax rate of 3.99%. And fun fact, North Carolina is the only state to have lowered income taxes every year for the past 16 years. And they're trying to lower them again this year too. So overall, we're giving this a tie. There's no clear advantage. Both are pretty competitive. Okay, but numbers aside, let's talk about your neighbors. Let's break down who actually lives in each city. In Charlotte, you've got people from everywhere. The diversity is real. We've got massive influx of people from the Northeast, California, Texas, and it's a true melting pot. You'll find people from every background, belief system, and lifestyle here. And there's a big population of professionals in their 20s and 30s, especially in tech and finance. A lot of people are here to build something, a career, a business, or just their life. Charlotte is fast growing and it doesn't feel stagnant, again, which I love. But Asheville's got a very different flavor. It's a little bit more mature, more alternative. There's a higher percentage of retirees, creatives, and people chasing lifestyle over career. It's a little slower, a little older, but also a little bit more eccentric. So if Charlotte is about climbing the ladder, Asheville's about stepping off of it altogether. Asheville's not as diverse culturally or economically. The community's strong, but it's just not as wide-ranging. It attracts a certain kind of person, and they all just kind of get each other. If you want diversity, youth, and momentum, Charlotte's going to be a clear winner here, but if you want a slower, more intentional, artsy community, Asheville's going to fit the bill. And this one is very subjective. Maybe you fit better in Asheville, but for me, again, Charlotte wins this round for that growth, diversity, and vibrance. All right, now that we know who lives there, let's say that dirty, dirty P word. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Politics. This round is about cultural values, not just who people vote for. And I want to be very clear about this. People across North Carolina really focus on the person more than just on who they voted for in the last election. And this is true of the majority of people in both places. Asheville has always been very liberal with artists, activists, lots of social causes. It leans very, very blue, but it's very community oriented and very environmentally green too. It's complex. It's not just how people vote though, it's the general lifestyle and beliefs too. So people here are proud of being different, very strong, local first in their attitude. It's quirky, it's inclusive, and it feels like everyone's just trying to make the world better. It's also important to note that once you get outside the city into the mountains around Asheville, it goes from being very blue to very, very red. And you'll find many families that have lived and owned the same plots of land for 200 or even 300 years, and they're not going anywhere. But in Charlotte, it's very purple. It's got big city nuance because it's more of a mix. You've got conservatives, young progressives, career-focused moderate independents. It's one of the most diverse cities in North Carolina, so it's not one size fits all. Some neighborhoods lean very liberal, some are more traditional. It really just depends on where you are. And if you're in the outer suburbs, it can feel a little bit more conservative, more church-driven, more family-first. And if you're looking for an openly progressive, activist-minded city, Asheville is going to clearly win. Charlotte has pockets of blue, but it's very evenly split between, actually it's a third, so a third red, a third blue, and a third independence. Now, winner, again, I'm going to put this one as a tie. It all depends on what you want. For me, I love the city energy more than anything. And my favorite thing about both these places is that for the most part, especially in Charlotte, everybody's very respectful. My experience has been that the people care about people first, not so much politics. And in a world that's so charged right now, being able to get away from it is something that I love in my everyday life. And if you're looking for somewhere that's super politically charged, the Carolinas are probably not somewhere that you should move, because that's just not how we do life here. So, all right, last but not least, nightlife, entertainment, and how these cities both actually play after dark. What happens when the sun goes down? And more importantly, what is there to do when the sun goes down? Now, Charlotte has some legit nightlife. There are rooftop lounges, clubs, pro sports arenas, concert venues. You've got big acts coming through, DJ nights, comedy shows. It's a major metro, so there's major options. And if you're into variety and energy, Charlotte delivers. There's also a strong after-work crowd. Think happy hours, upscale dinner spots, game nights downtown. It feels grown up, but still fun. Now, Asheville's nightlife is more local. Breweries, live acoustic sets, drum circles downtown. You won't find big clubs or late-night hotspots. It's not trying to be that city. It's a slower, more intimate pace, perfect if you want chill over hype. It's cool and quirky, but after 10 p.m., things get quiet. You're not staying out till 2 a.m. in Asheville unless you're really trying. If you want energy, events, and options late into the night, Charlotte's going to give you options. But if you prefer cozy over clubbing, Asheville still shines. It's just not as dynamic, or again, it doesn't have as many options. So the winner, if hitting the mountains to hike is your primary concern or focus, again, Asheville's better for you. But for me, Charlotte has so many things to do, places to go, options, and variety. Is an easy win for me, but again, you got to make that decision for you. Again, there's no perfect city for everyone, and the biggest mistake, financial or lifestyle, that you could make is to waste years stuck somewhere that you don't love or has housing options you hate. So don't do that. Take the Southern Cities Comparison Quiz to find out which city actually fits you, and if you want a deeper look at Charlotte, you can watch my Charlotte pros and cons video. It's detailed and based on my experience living here for the past 4+ years. Or if Asheville was the winner for you, watch this video here.